Hello there folks, I'm Dan Brown from sortofinteresting.com, and this evening I would like to share a few really nostalgic memories that have been brought back to me by a banana box of all things. So before we get into that, I just want to set up this video as I recently, or maybe a few weeks ago now, posted a video where I talked in this quiet, subdued tone because I was recording it in the absolute middle of the night and I didn't want to just start shouting like I normally do at the camera. Well, it was totally silent in the building. So basically, I thought, you know what, that was surprisingly well received, so let's do a few more, and hopefully you'll enjoy these as nice before bed, oh, Dan's boring us all to sleep sort of videos. So I'm going to share ones that are about memories and things that I like and all sorts of different stuff, and then I've got another one that I'm about to record and may even be online where I'm looking at, again, things I love like pens and fountain pens and how you fill up different cartridges from these ink bottles, that sort of stuff. But without further ado, how on earth has a banana box brought me some really clear, really nostalgic feelings and memories? Well, if you may or may not believe this, but around the camera right now as I'm recording this, there are 9 separate banana boxes. And when I'm talking about banana boxes, I'm not using a code word and it's not like a term for a proper piece of equipment. If I grab one now, I'm talking literally about a box that bananas come in. So it is that simple. Now, these are things that many people might be familiar with if you've moved house or anything. Watch out, because they've got these big holes through the middle, so don't put anything too small or valuable in there. But basically, these have brought me back some incredible memories from when I was really, really young, maybe about 4, 5, 6, when I would go out shopping on the big shop with my mum and my nan and granddad, and my favourite part about the trip was getting to the end of the shop where just down by the tills, and there's a good one, good place, retro places for anyone in the UK, Summerfield and Quicksave, or Quickies, which we'll talk about more in just a second. And basically they would leave loads of empty boxes for people to put shopping in and stuff like that. So I would always love to get down to the boxes because I would grab like something like this, and these are what I want to talk about specifically, but I'd grab all sorts of different boxes and take them back to me nan and granddad's with me, and then make them into cars and make them into like spaceships, and literally I would just be sitting in a cardboard box, but it would be the most incredible experience. So for anyone who's unfamiliar with these things, basically open up like this as you would expect and come in 2 parts. I'm not sure if they're really mega suitable for moving and stuff because obviously they've got these great big openings in them, but as a car, as an imaginary rocket, as an imaginary submarine, these, I can tell you from my experience as a child, are fantastic. So let's put this back up so I'm not being dazzled by the light. Lovely stuff. Oh, we've even got a weird space effect here now. So, banana boxes and childhood. Well, the big shop is one of those classic things that seems to be sort of trending to moving away from people doing massive shops all in one go, but we're getting bogged down in details there. So let's just keep it nice and nostalgic. Now, in the UK, people may know, as I say, Quick Save or Quickies and Summerfield as shops that are long gone, or at least long gone in most places. And here in Oswestry, we used to have both of them, and that'd be where what to me seemed like it was really early in the mornings. And I envision it as I've been imagining it as we'd be setting out in the dark and stuff like that, like me, my mum, my nan, and my granddad. And I'd be running out to get into the front seat of my granddad's car to drive uptown because it was like, oh, what a novelty. And then when we'd get into the shop, there'd be like this sort of, just this incredible thing like Quickies as you were going round. And it's not like how shops are now that are all really nice and sort of really proper somehow. It was like really basic, simple shelves and stuff like that, almost a bit warehousey as I envision it in my mind now, with maybe that nostalgic film over my memories. But they would have random little toys and stuff like just dotted around on little strips all over the place, like as you were going around shopping. And so I'd obviously always want those. And if there was like an Action Man, I remember Action Man Micro Machine type things once. And again, I mean, all sorts of different stuff, which, like I say, we won't get too bogged down in. But when I was really, really young, like I say, it was that fascinating thing of being able to like go on the big shop as if it was this big event that was the most amazing experience that you could ever have. Like, wow, we're gonna go and buy all this stuff. And one of the things that I always remember from Quickies, perhaps you will too, is walking around and then getting to the milk section, which was all encased in the long sort of perspex, like the real flappy door things. It's difficult, almost like an office type blind with all the different slats hanging down, but it's made of that clear, really rigid, solid sort of plastic. So it's got a bit of give in it, but you couldn't tear it or anything like that. And I just remember going into the milk section, and it was as if you had gone to the North Pole because it was so cold in there. And I remember like I'd love to push the trolley in it, because as these flaps like went up and up in front of the trolley, sometimes some of them would like fly back and hit you as if it was like the most shocking, really hard hit of these little plastic things catching your catching your shoulders or your arms and that from the side of the trolley. Again, just that sort of crazy thing. And I remember sometimes I would have these moments where it'd be like the scariest thing in the world, that I could try and be brave and let no other members of my family be in the milk section while I was in there. It's like, oh, I can't see them, where are they? And it's that sort of really crazy little thing that, again, until I started to think about like getting the banana boxes to turn into vehicles and stuff like that, all of these little memories laying so quiet and so dormant, it's unbelievable. So that's one of the first things, just actually going around doing the shopping. And then the fact that there's always all these empty boxes for people to put their shopping in at the very front of the shops too. It's incredible how, in my mind, this box selection is like the biggest selection of anything ever in the world. And it was like being in Hamley's toy shop or something like that. Whereas in reality now, I can look back and think that if I cut through the nostalgia, there was probably just basically a pile of maybe about 20 empty boxes in the corner of a supermarket. But at the time, obviously, you don't really see things in that sort of black and white. It's like, oh, what can I put in that? Oh, what can I use this for? What can I do with this? And what I loved with the big boxes was not only how it seemed like such an outrageously giant thing. Imagine how big this would seem now if you went back to being like maybe 5 or 6 years old. And what I loved basically was any box that I could sit in, so that, like I say, it could take on these roles of different vehicles and stuff. But also boxes, more traditional boxes, unlike these banana boxes that had the flaps on the top, so that you could literally like get in the box and try and close all the flaps over, and it would be as if like, oh yeah, I'm hiding in here, and my nan and granddad or me mum or me dad or whoever are not obviously going to clearly know where I am, and that I haven't just randomly gone off uptown as like this tiny little kid on my own. So one of the things, the real core memory that started off this little nostalgia trip is having a banana box or a similar sort of shaped box, like a low one that I could sit in. And I remember I'd been using it as my car all day at my nan and granddad's house, and then me and my mum went back to our house. And in the evening, my dad got some little round silver foil mince pie, sort of almost like cupcake cups, if that makes sense. But you know, the little foil ones that go for mince pies or that sort of stuff, basically. And he stuck 2 of those on the front of this box. So there was basically 2 of those acting as headlights. And again, because he was an adult, it seemed really proper and really good. He basically just wrote on little number plate on the front and made little doors, like put a cut in it so that you could have these little flaps of doors that opened. And I just, one day in the last sort of, I don't know, week, whenever, I was just sat here and I was just like sort of milling around, going through me notes and stuff, looking at some stuff to record for other videos in this little recording studio, and it just hit me out of nowhere, that memory of the little like silver foil cupcake things on the front as the headlights, and how amazing and how proper and how like it seemed like the most incredible thing ever. And I just thought of like that innocence and that brilliance of being able to be absolutely over the moon with literally a cardboard box with literally some used cake holders glued to the front. I mean, it's just incredible to think that that again was once upon a time enough to not only really amuse me and amuse me as it does now, even at age 29, looking back, but it was the sort of thing that it was, wow, this is incredible. So really, this video hasn't come to any final conclusion other than I really like my bizarre memories, and I hope that you've enjoyed hearing this ridiculous little story too. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, maybe not, who knows. But until the next time, I'd say check the links in the description to find me all over the internet. Read my short boat life books about my time spent on narrowboat Tilly on the Shropshire and Welsh canals. And really, just have an absolutely fantastic day, fantastic night. Sleep well if this is sending you slowly to sleep. But keep it interesting, keep it nostalgic, and of course, my friends, farewell.